So welcome everybody on this webinar, which is going to be about Webswing release 25.1. And what we are going to show you is the linked view and VMF demo, Webswing Migration Framework or Modernization Framework. A few notes on the beginning. We are going to record this webinar, so you can find it later on our YouTube channel, where you can as well find all the webinars. The previous one was about Java SWT support and so on and so on. If you had any questions, please do not hesitate to ask. So it's only now is the possibility to ask, because of course the recorded one will be on the YouTube, but here is the option to ask the core Webswing development team the questions you probably have or may have. So thank you all for joining us, and we can go to the next slide. Okay, that's us. So Victor is the founder and the CEO of Webswing. He was doing Webswing since 2012. Originally, it was a hobby project, and later become a commercial project as big companies and many other industries started using it. They required us to switch commercial because they need it for enterprise applications. Many of you are customers, as I see the list of names. Branislav is the senior developer. He's mainly leading the development of Webswing today, and myself, I'm responsible for licensing and sales. And this is what we are going to talk about. So the new features, the changes, the linked view, modernization framework, what is next, and please your questions we will add on the end. So I hand over now the word to Victor, and thank you again for joining us today.
Thanks, Igor. Hi, everyone, and welcome. So, like Igor said, today we will talk about our new major release, 25.1, which is our latest LTS release. That means that this release will receive regular updates for the next 3 years. So it's here to stay for some time with us. I'll give you a brief walkthrough through the new features and changes that we made in this release, and then Branislav will show you how the new linked view works and what you can do with it. And also he will give a quick refresher to our modernization framework and explain some of the paths that you can take to modernize or migrate your application to native web. Then, yeah, I guess we have lots to cover, so let's start. So the first update that we've added to 25.1 is the Prometheus metrics endpoint. So we've added 3 new monitoring REST endpoints to admin console that can be directly used by the Prometheus and integrated with the Prometheus as it generates the Prometheus formatted responses. The metrics are split to 3 levels. One is for overview, one is for session pool, and one is for application level metrics. And in the future, we are planning also to extend it to support open telemetry format as well. So let us know if this is something that you would find useful. Next one, we have already mentioned this. Okay, maybe let's switch the slide. Next one is, like we mentioned on our last webinar, we have replaced the protobuf library that we used for serializing the network communication with our own serialization library. And in this release, we have completely removed the protobuf dependency from Webswing. So from now on, we only use the serialization, the fast serialization that we developed in-house. So this is essentially just a final step of phasing out the dependency. We've already used this serialization library by default in 24.2, so this is really just a final removal. Next one is the new way to configure JavaScript bootstrap options in Webswing config. As most of you know, the configuration in Webswing is kept in a single file, webswing.config. And in previous versions, some of the JavaScript configurations or JavaScript-related options was only able to be changed in like a customized version of index.html. But now we're bringing this configuration also to the Webswing config. So you can, for the simple behavior configurations that do not require any code customizations, in JavaScript, you can simply do these configurations in the Webswing config file, and no need to touch the index.html anymore. You can, if you already have the index.html configurations, this will take precedence. So those are the highest priority. But if you remove those configuration options, you can define these options in Webswing config now using our admin console. That's the easiest option because you have the list of all available options in the admin console. Okay, next one is the update to cluster. So in 25.1, we've added a new startup option where you can launch cluster server and the session pool in a single JVM process. And this essentially simplifies the initial cluster setup where you don't need to set up two services, but you just start one server with the session pool together, and you still have the capability to scale by adding more session pools to this core service, or even more cluster servers, as a matter of fact. We have also improved the JavaFX high DPI support. So now the rendering of Java FX UIs should be much crisper on high DPI displays or when zoomed in the browser. Also, we've added a possibility to create HTML panels as a native JavaFX components to your JavaFX component tree. So now you can essentially extend your JavaFX applications same way as you could with the Swing applications. So yeah, this is a simplification in this area. Another small yet quite visible change is our new default window decoration manager, window decoration theme. This is, I think, long needed refresh of our mirroring theme that was used from the beginning. And this windowing theme is much faster to render because it's natively rendered by the Java 2D. It adapts to the color scheme of your look and feel. And to use it, you just leave the theme configuration option empty. And this is like the new default value for the theme as well. And the last one is the admin console scalability optimizations. So for large deployments with hundreds of sessions running, this optimization should make the admin console usage much more pleasant or faster to react. And also we've added some quality of life improvements, like if you need to customize your web folder, you don't need to do it manually. There's a button for it in the admin console that will create the skeleton of the web folder, and you can just then do the customizations in the HTML or JavaScript files there. Yeah, okay, so that's everything from the new features, except the linked view feature that Branislav will talk more in detail. Another thing that I wanted to mention is the breaking changes that were introduced in this version. So as you know, every major release may come with breaking changes, but we are trying to limit those to the least amount possible. So in this version, we have replaced the active session count REST endpoint by active sessions info, which kind of just extends it by 2 more metrics, where you can see now the connected and disconnected sessions as well. We have removed the deprecated dockable interface, which was replaced by the Webswing dockable window some time ago. So in previous versions, these two were living together, but in this release, we have removed it, removed the dockable interface. And we've also removed the method create HTML panel for web container component. We've simplified the underlying implementation, so now you don't really need to call this complicated method. The same behavior you will get if you just call the create HTML panel method in our API. So this is kind of just a useless method removal. So you can easily just, if you're using it, which I doubt, you can just replace it with create HTML panel call. Okay, so what's next? Right, the configuration changes. We've changed some defaults in our configurations. So by default, in this version, the isolated file system is enabled. Allowed JS link is disabled because we recommend using the JS link direct, which is enabled by default. Like I mentioned, the window decoration themes are now set to none by default, and the fast serialization configuration option is removed because the fast serialization is the only option from this version on. These setting changes will not affect you unless you are creating a new application, because all these settings are actually baked into the Webswing config when you create the configuration. So unless you're creating a new application, you don't really need to care about this. And the last change that we had to make is change of our embedded Jetty server. Up until now, we were using Jetty 9, which has reached its end of life, so it's not receiving any security updates anymore. Therefore, we had to upgrade to Jetty 12, which is now the default embedded server in Webswing. But as you may know, Jetty 12 only works with Java 17 or higher. So for version, if you are using Java 8 or 11, Jetty 12 is not an option for you. and therefore we had to add a fallback option in form of Tomcat 9. And this Tomcat 9 will essentially, Webswing will fall back to Tomcat 9 in case of this incompatibility of Java. Okay, I think that's all from my side. Branislav, it's your turn.
Yes, thank you for the overview, Victor.
Thank you, Victor.
Okay, sorry. I will now talk about our new feature called linked view, and I will also show you some demo. So linked view lets you open a new browser view for an already running application. This feature is similar to Undock. Maybe some of you already are using it, but there are two main differences. With link view, the view is initiated via URL. So the user can take the URL and can paste it into the browser address bar and can initiate the view. And the second difference is that the link view is not really bound to a particular Swing or JavaFX window. So you can basically have an empty link view without any window and it still be connected. So the URL looks something like this. Do I have a pointer here? Maybe not. Okay, sorry. There's this link view ID parameter, and that's basically it. What you can also add to the link view URL is the link view name, which you can then use the name in the application listener, and you can, based on the parameter, you can open the view that you want to open with the URL. So it could be a report or something like that. So you can identify the initialization of the view. The URL is static. It doesn't change throughout the application lifecycle, and you can use it as many times as you want. It's also valid only for the same user session, so another user cannot really grab the URL and connect to your application. Okay, let me share my screen and show you the demo. Okay. So this is our Webswing demo application. And I will first show you what's an undocked window. So you can either undock to a pop-up or to a tab. So if I undock to a pop-up, it will basically open a new browser window. But this browser window is bound to this Swing window. So if I resize it resizes it with it. And if I close this browser window, this pop-up, it will also close this window. So it's tightly coupled. If I undock to a tab, it does the exactly same thing. So it's just undocked, but in a tab. So I cannot resize this window, only if I resize it like this. And when I close this tab, it will also close this window. So the difference between the linked view is that I can now take this URL. This is the linked view URL. I can paste it here, and it will basically connect to the instance. So I can see that I'm connected. It's the same instance. And right now, nothing is rendered here. But we have some JavaScript API where I can see that, yes, I have one window here, and it's this Webswing demo window. So now I can use this method, which is declared on the window object. And when I press render here, it will just jump to this view. So now it jumped from this view, which is now empty, to this view. And this render here method you can also use inside unlocked windows. It's not really only for the linked view. If I want to open the linked view from JavaScript, that is also possible because we have the link the URL right here in the get connection info. You can see it here. This is the link to URL. And you can also see that this view has been opened with this linked view. If I use link view name, it will be also here. And the second thing I can show you is how to open a named link view. So here we have this open link view button, which will basically open a link view. And when it's initialized, it will create a new JFrame, which will render in the opened linked view. So when I press it, it will create a linked view frame, create a linked view and place this frame here. And when you open the connection info, you will see that this is the linked view name frame 0. And we have this also here in the parameter. Okay, I think that's basically what covers this demo. I can also show you, let's get back. I can also show you some code. So, sorry. What's important here, it's really not a really complicated feature. What you need to do in Java code, you get the Webswing API, and in the Webswing API, there's this new method called getLinkViewURL, and this is a full URL that you can use with desktop browse, and this command will basically open a new tab with the link view URL. And if you attach also the link view name parameter, then you can create this linked view listener, which is one callback when the linked view is initialized. And in the event, you can take a look at the linked view name. And when it's the one that we want, we create a frame, set it to visible, and then call this API method render window in tab. So this is similar to the JavaScript API, and we get the tab ID also in the event. On the JavaScript side, we added this render here function to the canvas window type, and in the connection info, you have seen this link view URL, link view ID, and link view name. Okay. Another demo I will show you today is about modernization paths. We have 4 different modernization approaches or paths. The first one is web enable. This is basically what everybody that uses Webswing already is using, because it's just basically enabling your desktop application to run in a web page. But it's not only that. You can also integrate your Webswing application or parts of the application into an existing web application. So if you have like already some other web application programmed in Angular, React, or any other JavaScript framework, you can integrate Webswing application anywhere inside the application. And I will show you. I will first tell you how to integrate it. So you can use our Webswing API plugin, where you just put your Webswing app connection URL and then bootstrap it into the selected element. So you select any element that is visible in the document, and Webswing will basically render inside and will fit based on the CSS. This modernization path has really low effort and complexity, because it's just simply integrating into a web page. It doesn't have really much impact on your business logic, because we do not really change any code inside your application. But there is a lot of remaining technical debt, because we didn't really modernize anything. We just moved it to the web. So we will see how this changes in other migration paths. Yeah, let's see the demo again. This one. Okay. This is our modernization demo application. You can see it on our demo server. The first part is web enable. And you can see here that we have this Swing application, but it's inside an existing web application. So this is basically some JavaScript native HTML application, and it's including this Swing application. So instead of having a just blank screen like here, and just having the Swing application rendered on a white page, you can easily integrate it into a web application. So this is a simple application with a table, some form, and a Swing chart. So we'll see in the next steps how can we modernize it some more. Okay, let's get back to the presentation. The second modernization path is called extend, because here we basically extend the content of your application with some web native features. So what you can do, you can embed videos, you can embed maps, or maybe HTML documentation of your product. It depends on your needs, and you can include any content which is rendered only on the front-end side, and the application doesn't really know about the content. So it's defined on the front-end side in the JavaScript. Here we use simple JavaScript and Java API to communicate between HTML and JavaScript content and the application. For this, we use HTML panel and JSLink Direct. This modernization path requires adding HTML component into your application source code. So there's some effort you need to do. There are some changes that you need to do in your application source code, but the impact on your business logic is not very huge, because you're just extending some information or some parts of your applications. You can add new modules, for example, or so on. But your remaining technical debt might be a little lower, because you may have replaced some complex thing that you want to present in a new way, and you can modernize some parts of the application. Okay, let's see the demo again. Okay, extend. So what we've done here is that we dropped the window decoration. As you can see, when you compare, we dropped the window decoration, so it's more fits into the view of the native application. And we added this part here. This blue background, this is all HTML content. Here we embedded an iframe with YouTube video. And in this table part, we added this SVG map, this is HTML content. And here you can see also the communication with JSLink Direct between the Swing component, which is this JTable, and this native JavaScript component. So when I click on a country in the map, it will filter. It will add the country name into this filter, and it will filter the records. So now I see only United States here. And it works also the other way. So if I press here on France, it will just highlight it here. So this way you can really nicely communicate with native HTML content and the Swing. And it's not really much effort. I will show you the source code. One more thing I want to show you is our Webswing demo, where we also use this, and you might not even notice it. Okay, let me just do this one more. When you go to any of our demos, we have this description and source code, and this is also native HTML code, and it's pretty. It looks like it's part of the Swing application, but it's really not. And also here you have this switch, which is native, and also this code is nicely highlighted using highlighting JavaScript plugin. So this is also how you can integrate, and you don't even, it doesn't even look like it's native. Okay, let's go back to the presentation. Okay, so here there are some more changes you need to do. So first, on the left side, there is Java code. Here you need to create an HTML panel using our API. It's basically a J panel, so it's a J component. And you can set its name, which you then identify it by in the JavaScript part. And then you want to handle some actions, basically the event handling between JavaScript and Java. So you need to add the web window action listener. Here in action perform, this is a callback when you want to perform some action from the JavaScript side to the Java app. And if we get this filter string action name, we just clear the table selection and set the filter to whatever is in the data. So it's probably the country name. And on the other hand, if we click a row in the JTable and we want to update the map, we will send this action event, which we call update map selection, and we provide the data, which is the country. So on the right-hand side, you can see the JavaScript code. Here we need to implement the Windows listener, and in the window open callback, when the window is being initialized, we also call the HTML panel a window. We identify it by its name, and then we create a WS map web component element, to which we add a click listener. So when we click on the map, we get the country name, and we perform the action called filter string, which we already saw in the Java part. And then when we want to handle the action event coming from Java, we implement this handle action event callback. And based on the event name, we again query the web component and set the active country attribute. So I think it's kind of easy, but yeah, it's a bit of more code. The third modernization path is facelift. Facelift is more about changing the look and feel of the application. WebSync allows you to allows selected or migrated components to be rendered only in HTML and JavaScript. So it's not about changing how it works or replacing it, but it's about defining how it should be rendered in the browser. So the migrated components are not really rendered in the applications. We completely bypass the painting process for the selected components. Here we also support the JSLink direct communication between the Java UI class and the JavaScript app component. So it's on the front-end side, it's implemented using the web component standard. And then when you implement such a web component, you can reuse it in the other parts of your native web application. So you can basically implement a web component for a table, and then you can use the same web component, maybe also not directly for the Webswing migrated component, but somewhere else in your application where you have native table. Uh, this approach does not always require touching the application source code. You can do it kind of like sideways, but sometimes it's really better to also do some changes in your source code. The effort and complexity is moderate. The impact on business logic can be low, but you can also do some business logic in the web component. So you can kind of like extend what the component does on the front end part. And the remaining technical debt is still high because you're not really getting rid of the Swing components. You're just telling WebSwing how to render them. So it's still the same on the backend side. Okay, let's see the demo again. Okay. So facelift. Okay, so here this is the same application as in Extend or in WebEnable, but here we can just tell WebSync how we want to render, for example, this JTable or this form or this swing chart. So if we flip the switch, it will re-render into a JavaScript chart, which is much nicer. Then we can, for example, switch this form, and you can see that it's now native HTML, and it still communicates with this JTable. So if I save this, it will render here. So the communication is still there, and you can also switch the table to something nice, and you can see that it still works both ways. So we still do have this swing around application, but we replaced all the components and now they look really nice. And what's great, you don't have to really just migrate a single button, but you can take the whole component and like parts of the application, like the whole form, like we do here, and change the whole form. And if you use the form on multiple views, you can use the same web component for it. Okay, let's see some code. Here. Okay, here's a little too much code, but let's see. First, on the Java side, we have this JPanel, which represents the form. What we need to do is to define the UI class ID. So you may be familiar with the UI class ID if you worked with Swing look and feel. So it basically leverages the same APIs. We need to also provide the get UI class ID overridden method so that the UI manager knows what is the UI class. When we want to migrate with WebSync, we need the WebSync migration API and call migrate component where we use the new UI class ID and then our custom implementation of the UI class. So on the right side, you see the implementation of the UI class. The most important details are the create UI method, which needs to be there, it needs to be static, and it needs to call our API. Then we need to override the paint method where we call paint web, which, if successful, bypasses the real paint and it will not really render. And then in extract state, we basically tell WebSync which web component we want to use on the front-end side. Here it's WS detail form. And then what is the data, or what is the state of the component. So this is called regularly when the component repaints. It always calls this extract state, and here we can send the data or the state to the web component. And we also want to be able to handle some events coming from the web component. So it's basically the same as JSLink Direct. Direct, we get the action name and then we get the data. On the JavaScript side, we need to implement the web component. You can use a basic web component, or you can extend a lit element. And this is a bit simplified. It's not everything is here. For example, here's the getter and setter for the data property. There's an input handler which handles any changes to the inputs in the form. And then we call perform action, which calls the handler you saw in the form UI class. And the last one is for declaring what we exactly want to render, what HTML should render for the web component. Okay, the last modernization path is called rebuild, which is basically a combination of the previous approaches. So what's important here is that you can step-by-step rebuild the application modules and components with the most suitable approach. So you can combine them. And the main goal is to rebuild the application in the modern web application with very to no technical depth. So whatever approach is most suitable for you, you should use, and then you can build towards a completely native web application. Then you can just either get rid of the Swing application, or you can use the Swing application with Webswing as a backend for the data or for the business logic. So the effort and complexity here is much higher because you want to modernize the whole application. The impact on business logic is also high because you also need to touch the business logic sometimes, especially when you want to move it completely to the modernized native web application. But the remaining technical debt is very low. And the most important part is the step-by-step, so you can do it gradually. I will show you also a demo, but I will not show the code because it's basically a combination of those approaches. So in rebuild, we have this demo where the stage 0 is basically the web enable. So this is where we start. The stage 1, what we did here is we included the SVG map. We got rid of the window decoration. In stage 2, we modernized the form. And you see that this is still the Swing application here. In stage 3, what we did is this round is not a Swing application. So the only part of the Swing application is here, this JTable, and everything else is completely modernized. So we have almost everything completely modernized except the JTable. And in stage 4, this is the complete modernization. So they're still running Webswing, there's still Swing application running in the backend, but what we show here is only HTML and JavaScript. Okay. Okay, I think that's about it. Back to you, Victor.
Cool. Thank you very much, Branislav. It's a lot of information. So the next.
Thank you.
What's next? that might be the question. So we are continuing to improve Webswing as always, and one of the largest efforts that we currently have is including the Oracle Forms support as the first-class citizen framework to Webswing. As you know, Webswing started with only Swing, then we've added applets, then we've added JavaFX. Recently, we've added SWT support, and now we're working on Oracle Forms as the next extension of Webswing. So I think this is pretty large news and a lot of work behind this. Then we have a couple of improvements that we want to build on top of the linked view technology, or the linked view feature. That is the implicit linked view session mode, which will allow you to start when you start a new browser window and connect to Webswing, and there is already an application running for your user. Instead of connecting to the same application and possibly disconnecting, for example, a different tab that was connected to the application, you will instead get a linked view session in the new tab, where you can then display new windows or new use cases for the application. Similar would be the undock to linked view, like Branislav showed in the link view demo. Currently, there is a way to undock to a tab, but if you do undock to a new browser tab, the window that is undocked there is kind of linked to this tab, and it always resizes to the full height and width of the tab. So with the undock to linked view, you would get like a more flexible, kind of like a new virtual desktop screen in this new tab. And also we are working on a shared JVM for one browser, where you can essentially define multiple applications and these applications will use the same JVM for one specific user. So essentially, you can have multiple use cases, or you can have multiple modules of the application, and use this kind of linked view approach to start as if multiple new sessions for the same user in one browser, instead not using multiple JVMs, but all in a single JVM. The next one is we are working on integration API for audio capture in the browser. So the browser microphone or local microphone audio capture to be accessible from the application. Also an option to upload or download folders in the JFile chooser integration. Then we want to improve how the JavaFX graphics interface wrapper works to provide a better and smoother JavaFX rendering experience. And we are also working in the testing side to also integrate or allow the integration with Selenium Cypress tools. And for load testing, we are working on a new plugin for JMeter, where you can kind of simulate the browser without the browser to be able to simulate a lot of session connections and stress test Webswing using this JMeter tool. Okay, I think that's all from our side.